Hi everyone, my name is Sara and I'm the Head of Education and Events here at Square Mile Coffee Roasters, and today we'll be talking about espresso. A lot of people know Square Mile from our red brick espresso. So what is red brick? Red brick is a seasonal blend that's designed to taste really good drunk as espresso and go really well in your milky drinks as well. So what goes into red brick, the coffees, they will change due to seasonality, but the overall goal of the blend is that they should have a really lovely texture, nice sweetness, maybe some kind of chocolatey, fudgy notes alongside with some lighter fruits. It should be an approachable espresso. The easiest way to get good results from your red brick is to use a recipe. So, what is a recipe for espresso? It's made up of 3 key parts. Number 1, the dose, how much ground coffee goes into your machine. Number 2, the yield, how much actual espresso is coming out for your machine. And then number 3, how long did it take to make that amount of espresso? That's your shot time. In terms of setting up your recipe, we like to express the relationship between the dose and the yield as a ratio. So for example, a 1:2 ratio would mean using 20 grams of ground coffee as your dose to make a 40-gram espresso as your yield. That's a 1:2 brew ratio. How do you know a recipe to use for your machine? We recommend starting by working out your dose, how much ground coffee you're going to use. Portafilters and baskets come in different sizes, so see what fits into your portafilter. Simply put it on a scale, then grind your coffee, tamp it down and make sure there's a little bit of headspace from the top of the portafilter to the surface of the coffee. That's your dose. Say that is 18 grams. Then if you want to follow a brew ratio of 1:2, which is what we recommend as a starting point here at Square Mile, then you'll simply double your dose to get your yield or how much espresso you're making. So for an 18-gram dose, you're going to make a 36-gram espresso. That is the start of your recipe. Secondly, we have shot time and grind size. We want the espresso to brew for around 30 seconds or so. If it's brewing really fast, then grind a little bit finer. That's going to slow down how the water flows through your ground coffee. If it's brewing too slowly, then you want to grind a bit coarser, and that's going to speed up your shot time. But generally, find out what works for your machinery by getting your dose and then your yield, and then play around with grind size until you get a balanced tasting espresso. How do you know if your espresso is tasting good? If your face scrunches up when you drink it, it's sour and probably under-extracted. If it takes you a little bit longer to pick up on a specific taste and then it lingers on the tongue like 100% dark chocolate or even paracetamol tablets, it's bitter and maybe over-extracted. What we want is a balanced espresso where we pick up a little bit of the acidity, nice sweetness, and a little bit of bitterness, but it tastes good as a whole. And we recommend taste your espresso as you intend to drink it. If you usually drink flat whites, taste it as a flat white. As an Americano, taste it as an Americano rather than a straight espresso. A caveat to dialing in lighter roasted coffee as espresso is that if your espresso is brewing really long with a long shot time, you might not get just bitterness, you might get a lot of sourness and bitterness because your espresso is brewed unevenly and it's unbalanced. So then if you're missing the middle part, the nice sweetness, fullness of flavor, treat that the same as you would with any other espresso that's brewed too long. Simply grind a bit coarser to speed up the shot time and see if you get better overall balance in the cup. Can you brew our filter coffee as espresso? Yes. But as our filter coffees are a slightly lighter roast than our espresso coffees, it means that they're a little bit more dense, often a little bit harder to extract, and that can lead to more acidity in the cup. So to help balance this out, we often recommend a slightly different brew ratio or recipe for these types of brews. If you normally would make, for example, red brick with a 1:2 brew ratio, like 18:36, maybe try 18:42 or 18:45 if you're brewing with a filter roast to help balance out that flavor profile. But remember, just keep tasting and find out what you like. When should you start your timer? Start your timer as soon as you're starting your shots. We don't want to start measuring from when the coffee comes out of the spouts, but rather from as soon as the water hits the coffee. So when you're starting your brew, start your timer at the same time, and then stop your timer when the machine stops the shot. How do you know how hard to tamp? Well, when it comes to tamping, the main thing is consistency. So you want to make sure that you're tamping hard enough. Too loose of a tamp and you're going to have a coffee that's not very compacted and you might get channeling as you're brewing. Tamping too hard it's kind of difficult to do, so as long as your coffee is compacted, that's good. The second thing is you want to make sure that you're always tamping level. So once you've tamped, take a look at your portafilter, and if you can see it's at a slight slant, just tamp again to level that out. But remember, it's less about an exact pressure and much more about consistent pressure every time. Is brewing decaf very different than brewing red brick? Well, honestly, not really. We recommend using the same recipe for decaf as we do red brick. It might look a little bit different when you're brewing decaf in that the crema might be a little bit thinner, maybe a little bit paler compared to red brick, but that's absolutely fine. It's a different coffee. So when you're comparing how a coffee looks when it brews, it's best just to look at that specific coffee. So you can compare different shots of decaf to other shots of decaf, and then red brick within red brick. The main thing is taste your coffee, make sure it's tasting the way you want it to.